The warning lights painted Commander Hyan-Woo's face in shades of red as he stared at the main display. Every screen showed the same terrible truth. The engine core was dead. Not failing, not damaged, but completely dead. In the 15 years he had commanded vessels across known space, Hyan-Woo had never seen a Valtharian engine die so completely. "Life support is switching to reserves," Officer G1 said from her station. Her voice stayed calm, but her hands trembled as they moved across the controls. "We have 40 hours. Maybe less." Hyan-Woo looked around the bridge at his crew. 12 Valtharians, all depending on him to find a solution. They were cargo haulers, not explorers. They carried supplies between colonies, made honest pay, and went home to their families. None of them had signed up to die in the Void Sector. Not the Void Sector earned its name honestly. Other species avoided it. The space here twisted in ways that made navigation nearly impossible. Old battlefields from ancient wars left debris spinning through the dark. Gravitational anomalies appeared without warning, strong enough to crush a ship into scrap metal. And spatial distortions could throw a vessel light years off course in seconds. "Send a distress call," Hyan-Woo ordered. "Wide spectrum. Every frequency we have." G1's face showed doubt. "Commander, no one comes to the Void Sector. The last 3 ships that tried rescue missions here never came back. Send it anyway." Hyan-Woo kept his voice steady. "Someone might hear. Someone might try." The distress signal went out, carrying their coordinates and their desperate situation into the void. Hyan-Woo knew the odds. He had calculated them twice already. But doing nothing meant certain death. At least this way they had a chance, no matter how small. Hours passed. The crew worked to extend their life support, shutting down non-essential systems and sealing off damaged sections. Engineer Bora managed to buy them an extra 5 hours by rerouting power from the weapon systems. Not that weapons would help them now. Young navigator Sung-ho kept checking the communications panel, hoping for a response. Each time he shook his head, Hyan-Woo felt hope slip a little further away. 36 hours of life support remaining. Then 30. Then 20-8. Halfway across the galaxy, on Earth's orbital station Gateway 7, pilot Tae-min sat in the observation deck with a cup of coffee. He liked watching the stars before missions. It reminded him why he had become a pilot in the first place. Space was beautiful, even when it was dangerous. "Tae-min, we picked up something." Commander Dae-yoon's voice came through his communicator. "Distress call from the Void Sector." Tae-min was already moving before she finished speaking. He reached the command center in less than 2 minutes, still carrying his coffee. Dae-yoon stood by the main console, her expression grim. "Let me hear it," Tae-min said. The recording played. Commander Hyan-Woo's voice came through, translated by the universal language system. He explained their situation clearly and without panic. Engine failure. Life support limited. 12 crew members. Coordinates in the Void Sector. "That's a death sentence," Dae-yoon said when the recording ended. "The Void Sector has a 100% casualty rate for rescue missions. I can't authorize this." "You don't have to authorize it," Tae-min replied. He was already pulling up star charts on the nearest display. "I'm volunteering." "Tae-min, be reasonable. The gravitational anomalies alone would tear most ships apart. Add in the debris fields and spatial distortions, and it's impossible." "Most ships," Tae-min agreed. "But the Horizon Runner isn't most ships. And I'm not most pilots." Dae-yoon knew that tone. She had worked with Tae-min for 6 years. When he made up his mind, nothing could change it. Other pilots called him the Ghost because he could navigate situations that seemed impossible. He slipped through dangers that would trap or destroy anyone else. How long to reach them? Dae-yoon asked, accepting defeat. Tae-min studied the charts, his fingers moving quickly across the display. Standard navigation would take 72 hours. I can do it in 18. 18 hours through the void sector? Dae-yoon's voice rose. That's insane. Probably, Tae-min said with a slight smile. But they only have 28 hours of life support left. I need to leave now. Within 30 minutes, Tae-min had the Horizon Runner prepped and ready. The ship was small, designed for a crew of 3, but heavily modified. Tae-min had replaced standard engines with military-grade thrusters. He had upgraded the navigation systems himself. The hull had been reinforced to handle stress that would crack normal vessels. Dae-yoon watched from the command center as the Horizon Runner undocked. Tae-min, I'm putting this on record. This mission is your choice. Earth Fleet is not responsible. Understood, Tae-min replied. His hands moved over the controls with practiced ease. But Commander, there are 12 people out there who need help. Someone has to try. Why does it have to be you? Because I can. The answer was simple and honest. I've trained my whole life for situations like this. If I don't go, who will? Dae-yoon had no answer for that. She watched as the Horizon Runner's engines flared bright and the small ship accelerated toward the void sector. Good luck, Ghost. Bring them home. That's the plan, Tae-min said. Back on the distant Hope, Sung-ho suddenly sat up straight at his console. Commander, I'm picking up a response signal. Hyen-woo rushed to his side. From who? What species? Human, sir. Single pilot in a small craft. He says he's coming to get us. The bridge went silent. Valtharians knew about humans. Everyone in the galaxy did. They were the species that had reached space travel later than most others, but had caught up with terrifying speed. They took risks other species avoided. They pushed their technology and themselves beyond safe limits. And they had a reputation for attempting rescues that seemed impossible. One human? G1 said. In the void sector? He'll die before he reaches us. Maybe, Hyen-woo said quietly. But hope flickered in his chest for the first time since the engines had died. Or maybe humans are as stubborn as the stories say. Either way, someone heard our call. Someone is trying. He looked at his crew. We keep working. Extend life support as long as possible. If this human is brave enough to try reaching us, we'll be alive when he arrives. The crew returned to their tasks with renewed energy. In the dark of the void sector, with death closing in, a small spark of hope made all the difference. Somewhere out there, a human pilot named Tae-min was coming. Whether he would arrive in time, whether he could succeed where others had failed, remained to be seen. But he was coming. And that was enough. The Horizon Runner hit the edge of the void sector at full speed. Most pilots would have slowed down, approached carefully, and mapped the dangers before proceeding. Tae-min did the opposite. He accelerated. Gateway 7. I'm entering the sector now, he said into his communicator. His hands stayed relaxed on the controls, even as the ship began to shake from gravitational interference. Initial readings show 3 major anomalies between me and the target. Debris field approximately 200 kilometers across. And at least one spatial distortion I can see. Tae-min, those readings are worse than we thought. Dae-yoon's voice came back, tense with worry. You should abort and wait for a full rescue team. No time, Tae-min replied simply. His eyes scanned the displays, taking in information faster than most people could process. Besides, a bigger team just means more people in danger. This is a one-person job. He banked the Horizon Runner hard to the left as a piece of debris the size of a building tumbled past. The proximity alarm screamed, but Tae-min had already seen it and adjusted. To him, flying through dangerous space was like reading a language others couldn't understand. He saw patterns in the chaos. He felt the gravitational pulls before the sensors registered them. Aboard the Distant Hope, Engineer Bora stared at her sensor display in disbelief. "Commander, you need to see this." Haiyan Wu joined her at the engineering station. The display showed the Horizon Runner's approach vector. The human ship was moving through the void sector at speeds that should have been impossible. More than that, it was performing maneuvers that made no sense. "Is he insane?" G1 asked, watching over their shoulders. He just flew within 50 meters of that debris cluster. At that speed, one mistake would have killed him. "It wasn't a mistake," Bora said quietly. "Look at his path. He's using the debris field's gravitational shadow to shield himself from the larger anomaly behind it. That's actually brilliant. Brilliant or crazy?" Sung Ho asked from his station. "With humans, it's often both," Haiyan Wu said. He had studied human psychology during his command training. Humans had something other species struggled to understand. They possessed an ability to make split-second decisions under pressure, to trust instinct over calculation. It made them unpredictable and dangerous. It also made them the best pilots in known space. Tae-min navigated the debris field with smooth, flowing movements. He didn't avoid every piece of wreckage. Instead, he threaded between them like water flowing around rocks. When a collision seemed certain, he would fire a thruster for just a fraction of a second, sliding the Horizon Runner past danger with meters to spare. "Gateway 7. I'm approaching the first major anomaly," Tae-min reported. "It's bigger than the reading suggested. Strong gravitational well, but the edge is stable enough. I'm going to use it." "Use it how?" Da-Yoon asked, though she suspected she knew the answer. "Slingshot," Tae-min said calmly. "If I enter at the right angle and speed, I can use the gravity to accelerate. Should cut about 3 hours off my travel time. If you enter wrong, it'll tear your ship apart. Then I won't enter wrong." On the Distant Hope's bridge, the Velthurian crew watched in stunned silence as the human pilot did exactly what he said. The Horizon Runner dove toward the gravitational anomaly at an angle that looked suicidal. The ship's hull began to groan under the stress. Metal creaked and protested, but Tae-min held his course steady. "His heart rate," Ji-won said, checking the bioscanner readings they were picking up from the Horizon Runner's automated systems. "It's barely elevated. How is he so calm?" "Maybe he doesn't understand the danger," Sung-ho suggested. "He understands," Haiyan Wu said. "Look at his flight pattern. Every movement is precise. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's just not afraid." That wasn't quite true. Tae-min felt fear like anyone else. His hands were sweating inside his gloves. His heart beat faster than normal, no matter what the alien sensors said. But fear was just information. It told him to be careful, to stay focused. It didn't tell him to give up. The Horizon Runner skimmed the edge of the gravitational well, close enough that the anomaly's pull grabbed the ship and whipped it around. The acceleration pushed Tae-min back into his seat with crushing force. His vision narrowed. For a moment, he thought he might pass out. Then the ship broke free of the well's grip, shooting forward at nearly twice its previous speed. "Successful slingshot," Tae-min reported, his voice only slightly strained. "Now approaching the spatial distortion. This one's going to be tricky." "Define tricky," Da-Yoon said. "Well, spatial distortions are unpredictable. They can throw you light years off course, or they can crush you flat, or they can just make you dizzy. No way to know until you're in one, so don't go in one. Can't avoid it. It's directly between me and the Distant Hope, but I've been watching its pattern. It pulses every 47 seconds. If I time it right, I can slip through during the weak phase." Bora was now recording everything the human did. This would be valuable data for Velthurian pilot training, assuming any of them survived to use it. She watched as the Horizon Runner approached the spatial distortion, a shimmer in space that looked like heat waves on a desert planet. Tay-Min counted down in his head. 47 seconds between pulses. He had observed 3 complete cycles now. The pattern held steady. He positioned the Horizon Runner at the distortion's edge and waited. His finger hovered over the thrust control. 40-5 seconds. 46. 40-7. The shimmer in space weakened, just for a moment. Tay-Min fired the engines and shot through the gap. Reality twisted around him. Up became down, left became right, and for a horrible second, he couldn't tell which way he was moving. Then the Horizon Runner burst through the other side, and space returned to normal. Made it through, Tay-Min said. He took a deep breath and wiped sweat from his forehead. That was unpleasant. Don't recommend it. On the Distant Hope, the crew released breaths they didn't know they were holding. The human had just navigated 3 major hazards in under 6 hours, a journey that should have taken days or killed him. And according to sensors, he was still accelerating. He's actually going to reach us, Ji-Won said, wonder in her voice. Maybe, Hyun-Woo replied. But we're not safe yet. Even if he gets here, we still have to get out. And that might be even harder. Tay-Min checked his navigation display. The Distant Hope was now clearly visible on his sensors, still 12 hours away. But something else appeared on his screen that made him frown. A large gravitational anomaly, bigger than the one he had used for the slingshot, was slowly pulling the alien ship toward it. Gateway 7, we have a problem, Tay-Min said. The Distant Hope isn't just stranded. It's caught in a gravity well. By the time I reach them, they'll be dangerously close to the anomaly's event horizon. Can you pull them out? Da-Yoon asked. Not with my ship. The Horizon Runner isn't designed for towing. I'll have to transfer the crew and abandon their vessel while near a gravitational anomaly. Yes, that's impossible. Probably, Tay-Min agreed. But I didn't come all this way to turn back now. I'll figure something out. He pushed the Horizon Runner harder, squeezing every bit of speed from the engines. Behind him, the path through the void sector looked clear and simple. But he knew it was an illusion. No one else could have followed that route. No one else would have tried. In the dark ahead, the Distant Hope waited, its crew watching their rescuer approach with a mixture of hope and disbelief. The human was coming. Against all odds and common sense, he was actually coming. Whether he could save them remained to be seen. But at least now they had a chance. And sometimes, a chance was all anyone needed. Tay-Min brought the Horizon Runner out of its final acceleration, burn, and got his first clear look at the Distant Hope. The situation was worse than he had imagined. The alien ship spun slowly through space, trailing debris and frozen atmosphere from multiple hull breaches. Its engines were dark and cold, and the gravitational anomaly loomed behind it like a hungry mouth, pulling the vessel slowly but inevitably toward destruction. Distant Hope. This is Tay-Min of the Horizon Runner, he said into the communicator. I've reached your position. Can you hear me? We hear you, Tay-Min. Commander Hyun-Woo's voice came through, heavy with emotion. We didn't think anyone would actually come. Sorry it took so long. Traffic was terrible. Tay-Min kept his tone light, though his mind was already working through rescue scenarios. I need a status report. How many crew? What's your life support situation? And can you control your ship's orientation at all? 12 crew members, all alive. Life support has 4 hours remaining. And no, we lost attitude control when the engines died. We're spinning approximately once every 2 minutes. Tay-Min pulled up a simulation on his display. The Distant Hope's rotation, the gravitational pull, the position of the damaged airlocks. He ran the numbers 3 times, hoping they would improve. They didn't. Commander Hyan-Woo, I need to be honest with you, Tae-min said. A standard docking procedure won't work. Your ship is spinning, you're being pulled toward the anomaly, and your docking ports are damaged. I'm going to have to try something different. What do you mean by different? Ji-won's voice came through. She had moved to stand beside her commander. I'll match your spin and dock with your emergency airlock. We'll have to do the crew transfer while both ships are in motion, near the gravitational field. Silence greeted this statement. Then Hyan-Woo spoke carefully. Tae-min, that's impossible. No pilot could match our rotation precisely enough. The slightest error would tear both ships apart. Good thing I'm not just any pilot then. Tae-min was already moving the Horizon Runner into position. I need you to have all crew members ready at the emergency airlock in 30 minutes. Personal belongings are not important. Just people? You should save yourself, Hyan-Woo said. Don't risk your life for strangers. Commander, I didn't fly through the void sector just to take pictures. Now get your crew ready. I'll see you in 30 minutes. Tae-min began the approach sequence, and on the distant Hope's bridge, Bora watched her sensors in amazement. The human ship moved with delicate precision, making tiny adjustments to its trajectory. It began to spin, matching the distant Hope's rotation exactly. The two vessels moved in synchronized dance, getting closer with each revolution. He's actually doing it, Sung-ho whispered. Don't celebrate yet, Ji-won said. He still has to dock. Below them, in the emergency airlock chamber, the Veltharian crew gathered. They were scared, but trying not to show it. Young crewman Minho held hands with his friend Yuna. Engineer Bora did a final check of everyone's emergency suits. They all watched the outer door. Waiting Tae-min's hands moved constantly over the controls, making micro-adjustments every few seconds. Matching the spin was the easy part. The real challenge was approaching, while both ships were being pulled by the gravitational anomaly. He had to compensate for that pull while maintaining the rotational match, while bringing the Horizon Runner close enough to dock. Gateway 7. You watching this? Tae-min asked. We're watching, Dae-yoon replied. Her voice was tight with tension. Your approach vector is insane, Tae-min. You're operating with zero margin for error. Then I won't make any errors. He fired the port thrusters for 0.3 seconds. The Horizon Runner slid sideways, narrowing the gap. Another burn, this one from the ventral thrusters. The ship rose slightly, aligning with the distant Hope's emergency airlock. The two vessels spun together now, just meters apart. On the distant Hope's bridge, every screen showed the human ship matching their every movement. It was like watching a ballet performed in the dark, with death waiting for a single mistake. Docking in 10 seconds, Tae-min announced. His voice stayed calm and steady. 9, 8, 7. The gap closed to mere centimeters. Metal reached for metal across the dark. 3, 2, 1. Contact. The docking clamps engaged with a solid thunk that echoed through both ships. For a moment, nobody breathed. Then the airlock indicators turned green. The seal was good. Docking successful, Tae-min said. Commander Hyan-Woo, open your inner airlock door. Let's get your people to safety. The transfer began immediately. One by one, the Veltharian crew members moved through the connected airlocks into the Horizon Runner. Tae-min stood at his ship's airlock entrance, helping each one aboard. He smiled at the scared ones, nodded to the nervous ones, and counted carefully as they entered. 8, 9, 10, he counted as young Yuna stepped through, followed by Minho. 2 more, then we can leave. That's when the distant Hope lurched. The gravitational anomaly's pull had intensified, yanking the alien ship harder toward oblivion. The sudden movement strained the docking clamps. Alarms blared on both vessels. On the bridge, Hyun Woo gripped his console as it tilted beneath him. What happened? Tae Min demanded, reaching for the controls. The anomaly's pull increased. Aura's voice came through from engineering. It's dragging us in faster. And Commander, I have bad news. The emergency corridor just collapsed. I'm trapped in engineering. Hyun Woo's face went pale. Aura, can you reach another corridor? No, sir. The collapse blocked all routes. I'm sealed in. Tae Min looked at the crew members already aboard his ship. 10 Velfarians stared back at him with frightened eyes. Commander Hyun Woo stood in the airlock between the two ships. And somewhere deep in the distant hope, Bora waited, trapped and alone. Everyone into the Horizon Runner, Tae Min ordered. Commander Hyun Woo, you too. We can't leave Bora, Hyun Woo protested. I'm not planning to. Tae Min pulled on his helmet and sealed his emergency suit. But you need to get on my ship. All of you. Now, what are you doing? Going to get her. Tae Min checked the seals on his suit one more time. I'll use the Distant Hope's internal corridors to reach engineering. Then I'll bring Bora back through the same route. The ship is being pulled apart, G1 said. Those corridors could collapse completely. Maybe, Tae Min admitted. But Bora is part of your crew. That means we don't leave without her. He looked at Hyun Woo directly. Get on my ship, Commander. That's an order from the pilot in charge of this rescue. Something in Tae Min's voice made Hyun Woo step through the airlock. The human had a look in his eyes that the Velfarian recognized. It was the look of someone who had made a decision and would not be moved from it. I'll be back in 15 minutes, Tae Min said. If I'm not, undock and get out of here. Don't wait for me. We won't leave you, Hyun Woo said. Yes, you will. Because that's what I'd want. Tae Min sealed the airlock behind the commander, then turned and moved deeper into the dying alien ship. His suit lights cut through the darkness as he navigated corridors that groaned and twisted under the gravitational stress dot in the Horizon Runner. 11 Velfarians crowded into a space designed for 3 humans. They watched the airlock door and waited. Outside, the gravitational anomaly pulled harder, and somewhere in the dark, a human pilot they barely knew risked his life to save one of their own. Why is he doing this? Young Yuna asked quietly. He already saved most of us. He could leave. Commander Hyun Woo thought about that question. He thought about the human's steady voice, his calm determination, and his simple statement that Bora was part of the crew. Finally, he understood. Because humans don't calculate acceptable losses, Hyun Woo said. They just ask if they can help. And if the answer is yes, they try, no matter the cost. Tae Min moved through the Distant Hope's corridors as quickly as his suit would allow. The ship groaned around him, metal screaming under stress. Emergency lights flickered and died, leaving only his helmet lamps to show the way. The gravitational pull was stronger now, making him feel heavier with each step. His muscles burned from the effort. Bora, can you hear me? He called into the communicator. I hear you. Her voice came back, scared but trying to stay calm. Are you really coming for me? Already on my way. What's your exact location? Main engineering, lower level. But Tae Min, the corridor collapsed between the emergency airlock and here. You can't reach me. We'll see about that. Tae Min reached the collapsed section and examined it with his lights. A support beam had fallen, bringing down part of the ceiling and blocking the passage completely. He could probably squeeze through the gaps, but not while carrying an injured Velfarian. He opened his emergency kit and pulled out a plasma cutter. Bora, I'm going to cut through the debris. It'll be loud. Don't be alarmed. The structure is already unstable. Cutting could cause another collapse, and I'll work fast. Tae Min activated the cutter and began slicing through the fallen beam. Sparks flew in the low gravity, dancing around him like fireflies. The beam was thick, designed to support the ship's structure, but the cutter was military grade. It chewed through metal quickly. On the Horizon Runner, Commander Hyan Wu listened to the sounds of cutting coming through the communication channel. The other crew members sat quietly, fear and hope mixing on their faces. Young Sung-ho monitored the gravitational readings. "Commander, the anomaly's pull is increasing," he reported. "If they don't return in 8 minutes, we won't have enough engine power to escape." Hyan Wu didn't respond. What could he say? That they should leave the human and Bora behind? That 2 lives weren't worth the risk to 10? The math was simple, but something in him rebelled against it. He had spent his whole career making practical decisions, calculating risks and benefits. Now he understood why humans frightened other species. They ignored the math. Te-min finished cutting through the first beam and moved to the second. His suit's internal temperature was rising. The cutter generated heat, and his life support struggled to compensate. Sweat ran down his face, stinging his eyes. He blinked it away and kept working. "Tae-min, your bio readings show dangerous heat levels." Dayun's voice came from Gateway 7. "You need to rest." "No time," he replied. The second beam fell away, clanging against the floor. Almost through. The third beam took longer. It was positioned at an awkward angle, forcing Tae-min to cut from multiple directions. His arms ached from holding the cutter in position. His breathing came hard and fast. But he pushed through the discomfort and focused on the work. The final section of beam fell away, leaving a gap just wide enough for a person to pass through. Tae-min switched off the cutter and squeezed through the opening. Beyond it, a corridor stretched toward engineering. The walls had buckled from the gravitational stress, making the passage narrow and twisted. "Bora, I'm through the collapse. Heading to you now. Hurry, the gravity is getting stronger. I can barely stand." Tae-min pushed forward, fighting against the pull that tried to drag him backward. It felt like climbing a steep hill while wearing heavy weights. His leg muscles screamed in protest. He grabbed handholds on the walls and pulled himself along, refusing to slow down. He found Bora in the engineering section, trapped behind a fallen console. Her leg was pinned, and blood had dried on her uniform. She looked up as his lights found her, hope and disbelief mixing in her eyes. "You actually came," she said. "Said I would." Tae-min examined the fallen console. It was heavy, probably 200 kilograms in normal gravity. Here, the anomaly's pull made it weigh even more. "This is going to hurt when I move it. Ready? Just do it." Tae-min positioned himself and lifted. The console barely moved. He adjusted his stance, planted his feet, and lifted again with everything he had. The console shifted slightly. Bora bit back a scream as the movement jostled her injured leg. "Again," Tae-min said, breathing hard. He lifted a third time, muscles trembling with effort. The console rose another few centimeters. "Can you pull your leg out?" "Not yet." "A little more." He lifted again, and this time Bora managed to drag her leg free. She cried out in pain, but didn't stop moving. Tae-min let the console drop and quickly examined her leg. The bone was broken, but the bleeding had stopped. "Can you walk?" he asked. "Not well." "Then we'll improvise." He pulled emergency support struts from his kit and quickly fashioned a splint for her leg. It wasn't perfect, but it would hold. Then he helped Bora to her feet, letting her lean heavily on him. "We need to move fast," Tae-min said. "Can you manage?" "Do I have a choice?" "Not really." He positioned her arm around his shoulders and started back the way he had come. Progress was slow. Each step took effort. The gravitational pull fought them constantly, and the ship continued to groan and shudder around them. On the Horizon Runner, Sung-ho watched his chronometer. 5 minutes, Commander. After that, we won't have enough power to escape the gravitational field. He'll make it, Ji-won said, though her voice held doubt. And if he doesn't? Then we wait anyway, Hyeon-woo said firmly. The human came here to save us. We don't abandon him. Tae-min and Bora reached the collapsed corridor. The gap he had cut seemed smaller now, probably from the increasing gravitational stress warping the structure. He helped Bora through first, guiding her carefully over the sharp edges. Your turn, she said from the other side. Tae-min squeezed through, feeling metal scrape against his suit. For a horrible moment, he thought he might be stuck. Then he pushed harder and popped through, falling on the other side. He rolled to his feet immediately and grabbed Bora again. Almost there. Just a little further. They moved through the final corridors as the ship shuddered violently. Somewhere deep in the structure, something gave way with a sound like thunder. The floor tilted beneath them. Tae-min grabbed a handhold with one arm while holding Bora with the other. They hung there for a moment, suspended. Then the floor leveled slightly, and they continued. The airlock appeared ahead, its lights still glowing. Tae-min felt relief flood through him. They were going to make it. Horizon Runner, we're at the airlock, he called. Open the door. The airlock cycled open, and Hyeon-woo appeared to help pull Bora through. Other crew members reached out, taking her weight from Tae-min. He followed them through and sealed both airlock doors behind him. Everyone accounted for? Tae-min asked, already moving toward the pilot's seat. All 12 crew members present, Hyeon-woo confirmed. Good. Strap in. This escape is going to be rough. Tae-min dropped into his seat, and his hands flew over the controls. Emergency separation in 3, 2, 1. The docking clamps released with explosive force, pushing the two ships apart. Tae-min fired the engines immediately. Maximum burn, every bit of power the Horizon Runner could generate. The ship surged forward, straining against the gravitational pull. Behind them, the distant Hope finally lost its battle with the anomaly. The alien vessel crumpled like paper in a fist, crushed into nothing by forces beyond comprehension. The Horizon Runner shook from the gravitational turbulence, but Tae-min kept the engines burning, kept pushing forward. We're not accelerating fast enough, Sung-ho said, watching the readings. The gravity well has us. Not for long. Tae-min diverted power from life support, from sensors, from everything except the engines. The cabin temperature began to drop. Oxygen levels decreased. But the ship accelerated faster. The Veltharian crew held on to their seats as the Horizon Runner fought for freedom. They could feel the gravitational pull trying to drag them back, could feel the ship straining against it. For a moment, it seemed like they might not make it. Then, suddenly, they broke free. The gravitational pull released them, and the Horizon Runner shot forward into clear space. Tae-min finally reduced the engine power and restored life support. He sat back in his seat and took a deep, shaking breath. We made it, he said quietly. Behind him, 12 Veltharians began to cry with relief that the journey back to safe space took 3 days. The Horizon Runner had been designed for a crew of 3 humans, not 13 people total, with 12 of them being Veltharians. Space was tight. Everyone took turns sleeping in the limited bunks. They shared meals from the emergency rations, which Tae-min divided carefully to make sure everyone had enough. Commander Hyeon-woo found Tae-min in the cockpit during the second day, watching the stars through the forward viewport. The human looked tired. Dark circles shadowed his eyes, and his shoulders sagged with exhaustion. But he smiled when Hyeon-woo entered. Commander, how's Bora doing? Better. The pain medication is helping. She says the splint you made was very effective. Haiyan Wu sat in the co-pilot's seat. I wanted to thank you for everything. You risked your life for strangers. I still don't understand why. Tae Min was quiet for a moment, considering the question. Your crew needed help. I could provide it. What else is there to understand? Most species would have calculated the risks. They would have determined that 12 unknown lives weren't worth one pilot's life. The math doesn't work out. Humans aren't very good at math, Tae Min said with a slight smile. We tend to think with our hearts as much as our heads. When we see someone in trouble, we want to help. It's just how we're built. But you could have died. Multiple times. The void sector, the docking, going back for Bora. Any of those could have killed you. True, Tae Min nodded. But they didn't. And now 12 people are alive who might not have been. That seems like a good trade to me. Haiyan Wu studied the human's face. He saw sincerity there, no bravado or false heroism. Tae Min genuinely believed what he was saying. To him, the choice had been simple and obvious. Help people who need help. It was a philosophy that both impressed and frightened the Valtharian commander. Is this common among humans? Haiyan Wu asked. This willingness to risk everything for others? Common enough. We have a saying in our military. No one gets left behind. It means exactly what it sounds like. We don't abandon our people, even when it would be logical or safe to do so. That's why other species find humans so unpredictable. Probably. Tae Min stretched his shoulders, trying to work out the stiffness. But unpredictable isn't the same as unreliable. You can count on a human to try to help. We might fail, but we'll always try. Young Sung-ho appeared in the doorway, holding 2 food packets. I brought dinner. Thought you might be hungry, Tae Min. Thanks. Tae Min accepted the packet and tore it open. The contents looked like paste and probably tasted worse, but it was food. How's everyone holding up? Tired and cramped, but alive. That's more than we expected 2 days ago. Sung-ho hesitated, then asked, Can I ask you something? Sure. When you were cutting through that collapsed corridor to reach Bora, weren't you scared? The ship was falling apart. You could have gotten trapped or crushed. Tae Min thought about lying, about playing the fearless hero. But these people deserved honesty. I was terrified, he admitted. Every second, I thought something might go wrong. My hands were shaking so hard, I could barely hold the cutter steady. But you kept going. Of course. Being scared doesn't mean you stop trying. It just means you're aware of the danger. He took a bite of the food paste and tried not to make a face. Fear is useful. It keeps you alert, but you can't let it make your decisions for you. Over the next day, Tae Min found himself answering many questions from the Valtharian crew. They wanted to know about Earth, about human culture, about pilot training. Young Yuna asked if all humans were as brave as him. He laughed and said no, that plenty of humans were cowards, just like any species. But when someone needed help, humans had a habit of stepping up. Engineer Bora asked about his modifications to the Horizon Runner. He explained each change he had made, the reasoning behind it, and the risks involved. She recorded everything, fascinated by how humans approached engineering problems. They pushed boundaries in ways Valtharians would never consider. Your species is either very brave or very crazy, Bora concluded. Why not both? Tae Min replied with a grin. On the 3rd day, they finally reached the edge of Valtharian space. A patrol ship immediately hailed them, and within hours, news of the rescue spread across communication networks. The impossible mission in the void sector was suddenly major news. A human pilot had saved an entire alien crew from certain death. When they docked at Valtharian Station 7, media crews waited. Reporters shouted questions. Camera drones flew everywhere. Tae-min tried to avoid them, uncomfortable with the attention, but Commander Hyan-woo gently guided him forward. "You saved our lives," Hyan-woo said quietly. "Let us honor that." Medical teams took Bora away on a stretcher, but she grabbed Tae-min's hand as they passed. "Thank you," she said simply. "You didn't leave me behind." "I won't forget that." The other crew members each said their goodbyes. Young Sung-ho asked if he could study human piloting techniques. Yuna hugged Tae-min, which surprised him since Veltharians usually avoided physical contact with other species. Even G1, who had been skeptical throughout the journey, thanked him with genuine warmth that the Veltharian High Council requested Tae-min's presence the next day. He put on his formal uniform and tried to prepare himself for some kind of ceremony. He hated ceremonies. The council chamber was impressive, all carved stone and floating lights. 7 council members sat in elevated positions, looking down at him. Commander Hyan-woo stood beside Tae-min, along with his entire crew. "Pilot Tae-min of Earth," the head counselor began. "You entered our most dangerous space to save lives. You succeeded where our own pilots would have failed. You risked everything for people you had never met. On behalf of the Veltharian people, we offer you our highest civilian honor, the Star of Valor." They presented him with a beautiful crystal star that seemed to glow with internal light. Tae-min accepted it awkwardly, not sure what to say. "Thank you, but I was just doing my job." "No," the head counselor said. "You went far beyond any job description. You showed us what humanity values: life, compassion, and an unwillingness to accept defeat." She paused, then added, "You also taught us that we have been too cautious, too willing to accept that some things are impossible. Humans don't seem to believe in impossible." "Oh, we believe in impossible," Tae-min said. "We just think it's worth trying anyway." The ceremony ended with formal thanks and promises of friendship between Earth and Veltharia. Tae-min shook many hands and posed for many pictures. Through it all, he kept thinking about getting back to his ship and returning to Earth. That evening, he found Hyan-woo waiting at the docking port. The Horizon Runner had been cleaned and refueled, ready for the journey home. "I wanted to see you off," Hyan-woo said, "and to tell you something. What you did changed how my people see humans. Before, we thought you were reckless and dangerous. Now we understand that you're brave and determined. There's a difference. We're probably still a little reckless," Tae-min admitted. "Perhaps. But you're also the species that answers distress calls from the void sector. That matters more than you know." Hyan-woo extended his hand in the human gesture of goodbye. "Safe travels, Tae-min. If you ever need help, the Veltharian people will answer your call." Tae-min shook his hand warmly. "I'll remember that." He boarded the Horizon Runner and began the pre-flight sequence. As the station fell away behind him, he contacted Gateway 7. "This is Tae-min. I'm clear of Veltharian space and heading home." "Welcome back, Ghost." Commander Daeun's voice came through, warm with relief. "We've been following the news. You're famous now. How does it feel?" "Embarrassing. I just did what needed to be done." "That's exactly why you're famous. Most people talk about doing what needs to be done. You actually do it." She paused, then added, "Oh, and Tae-min? We have another distress call. Colony ship with engine problems near the outer rim. They need a pilot who can navigate asteroid fields." Tae-min smiled and began plotting a course. "Send me the coordinates. I'll head there after I refuel. Don't you want to rest first?" "People need help, Commander. Rest can wait." As the Horizon Runner accelerated toward Earth, Tae-min thought about the last 3 days. About 12 aliens who had been strangers and were now friends. About a desperate mission that everyone said was impossible. About the look in Bora's eyes when he had reached her in that collapsing ship. He thought about what it meant to be human, to see someone in trouble and simply try to help, regardless of the risks or the odds or the calculations that set it. Couldn't be done. Other species might be stronger or smarter or more advanced. But humans had something special. They had stubbornness that looked like bravery. They had hope that others called foolishness. And they had a simple philosophy that guided them through the darkest situations. If someone needs help and you can provide it, then you try. Even when it's scary. Even when it's dangerous. Even when everyone says it's impossible, you try anyway, because that's what humans do.